always appreciates you. So Source is on the trajectory of adoring you, appreciating you, knowing your value. And when you are too, you feel proud, you feel energized, you feel vitality. But when you're hard on yourself, you create a wobble, and you can feel it in your emotions, you see. So trajectory, Source trajectory. The question is, are you following that trajectory, which is what we have always been calling, if you've been listening to us for a while, the path of least resistance. The path of least resistance is the path of most allowance. It's the path that you've most long been on. It's the path of your strongest vibration. But you came into this physical time-space reality wanting the opportunity. We all wanted it. We all wanted the opportunity for you to explore variety, because how are you going to know what an improvement is if you don't have some comparative experience in order to come to those new conclusions? The evolution of all species, all consciousness, all beingness is about that. Are you with us? Yes. We know. We like it. So now let's tell you the same story the way we have been telling it to you. You were Source energy before you came into this body. You came into this body, and here you are in this body, splat. We like that part. And you're exploring variety, and you know what you don't want, and you know what you do want. And when you know what you do want, you launch these rockets of desire. Did you hear what we just said to you? You launch those rockets of desire. You add to the trajectory, that is you. And we said to you, that's step one. You come, you explore, and you come to your personal conclusions, which means you ask. Step one is you ask. Life insists that you do. You can't not ask. You're asking all day, every day, at so many levels of your being. It would take all day just to identify the levels of your being that are asking. Just take our word for it, you're asking. Step one is happening, whether you know that it is or not. You don't have to work at that, it's happening. Step two is Source answers what you're asking for. Wrote a whole book about that. Ask and it is given. Ask and it is given. What did we just tell you about that? How is it given when you ask? Because in the moment that you launch that rocket onto that trajectory, Source is right on it. In other words, Source becomes the vibrational equivalent of everything you ask for when you ask for it. As the things that you ask for line up with the love and the clarity and the beingness and the well-being and the perfection that is you, you ask and it is given. See how that fits in? But your work, we say, is step three. And step three is you must be a vibrational match to what you're asking for. Which means if you've asked and Source is on it and you're wobbling because you're focused upon the absence of it, you're not allowing. You see what we're getting at? Step three is where all of your work is. Because step one is happening. And step two is happening. You're asking. You're adding to the trajectory. The question is, how true to the trajectory of who you really are you being? And the answer is, in most cases, not that true. Because you are enamored. Oh, we love you so much. You know what's coming next. We love you so much. You are so enamored with the conditions of your environment that you give your attention to conditions that aren't a match to what Source within you is giving attention to. So you split your energy. You split your energy, introduce resistance into the equation. You feel it in the form of your emotional guidance system. You create a wobble. What do you think about that? Isn't that the easiest way you've ever understood who you are and why you feel the way you feel in any moment in time? You are magnificent creators who have come to expand, but you've made too much of a lifestyle out of the asking part. And we want you to turn your attention and make a lifestyle out of the alignment part, out of the coming into alignment with your true path. You are not a puppet on a string. You existed with intention and you have a trajectory going before you came into this physical body. There was no puppetry going on. There was no one else making those decisions. You were that expanding being and you still are. The question is, in your current expansion, are you paying attention to who you really are, or are you just flailing around all over the place and letting the conditions that surround you dictate how you feel? So good to gain control of your understanding about this, isn't it? So here's the thing. Esther, she was so excited at first when she arrived in San Francisco and saw the beauty of the place until she and Jerry drove up to the top of a hill and she could not believe the hill that they were climbing. Couldn't believe it. Some here too. The driver was bringing them from the pier, and he was coming up a hill, and someone got in the way, and he had to stop for a minute, and Esther thought, this is going to be interesting. He stopped, began to roll backwards a little bit. Esther thought, I wish I were driving. I'm smarter than that. I don't let my momentum stop on a hill. Tried to go, sort of went. Esther thought, it's a good thing this is a strong car. And then off they went, but it felt a little funny. And so Esther remembers that first hill in San Francisco. She couldn't believe people were driving up it. She really couldn't believe people were driving down it. You know what we're talking about. So imagine being at the top of that hill, take your car out of gear, take the parking brake off, and then just for a learning experience, you decide that you'll just push your car from behind, just see what happens. So you nudge it a little, and you begin to see what's happening. But before it gets very far, you realize what's going to happen, so you just step right out in front of that car, you let it bump up against you, and it stops. The momentum was easy to stop in the early stages, wasn't it? But you wouldn't want to be at the bottom of that hill, stopping that momentum. So momentum is really a big part of this conversation in the wobble factor. Because if you are launching your rockets of desire, but then you're countering it with, well, I would like more money, but there's not enough. And I would like more money. I would really like more money, but I don't have enough. And I would like more money because I would like to pay my bills. And I would like more money, but I don't know hardly anybody that's got enough money. And I would like more money, but the government is so screwy with our money. I would like more money, but the government takes way too much of our money. I would like more money, but my wife is a crazy woman with a credit card. I like more money, but my husband doesn't earn enough money. I would like more money, but my employer won't give me enough money. In other words, you get all this momentum going until you've got quite a wobble going on out here in the conditions that you are examining. And what goes wrong is that then when you think that the way that you get to the place that you want to be is by solving those conditions, what you find out is when the wobble is severe, you can't. The momentum is too great. You can't stop the momentum of those thoughts, those beliefs. A belief is just a thought you've practiced into a very strong vibration. So the beliefs that you've practiced that match your true trajectory or your path of least resistance, those thoughts, those beliefs serve you and feel good when you focus upon them. But those beliefs that contradict your true path or your true trajectory, they don't feel so good. And we're just saying, if you can catch that wobble in the earlier stage, it's really easy to deal with. But if you wait until it's out there and all kinds of conditions have occurred or been realized by you because of the consistency of the wobble, you see, you get what you think about whether you want it or not. So when you talk about what you want in the absence of it and what you want in the absence of it and what you want in the absence of it and what you want in the absence of it, you've got this mixed vibration going on and you're living some of all of that, and it's a rocky ride, isn't it? So now you know everything we know. Now you know everything about the laws of the universe that are important for you to know. Now you know everything about your guidance system. So now the only thing that's left for you are two important things. First, you have to accept that your emotions are your wobble indicator. They are your resistance or your allowing indicator. They are your on the path or off your path indicator. They are the being true to you or not being true to you indicator. That's what your emotions are. That's first and most important that you have to know. You have to accept it. You have to remember it. You have to believe it. You have to know that. And second, you have to care about how you feel. You have to be unwilling to put up with early wobbles because they're going to get more. And what happens is you put up with an early, oh, that doesn't bother me that much. Oh, that's all right. I don't feel any really strong pain about that. I can stand that. Yeah, it's been going on a long time, but I'm strong. I can take care of myself. It's all right. I'll be all right. And everybody lives like that and so on. So, but as it gets bigger and bigger, then you start joining chat rooms about it. Then you start going to those meetings with other people that are leaving that same sort of dysfunction. Then you start drinking things and shooting things and ingesting things in order to numb the discord. In other words, what are you drinking? Wobble-free juice. Really? Wobble-free juice? Well, no, it just covers up the wobble. It makes me unaware of the wobble. It makes me unaware of the wobble. Well, does it help? Well, at first. At first it helps, but eventually my life goes to pieces. And so what do you do then? I just drink more. I drink more. I shop more. I do more things to try to fill the void, the wobble void. I try to fill the void with action and behavior. How's that working out? Not that well, but I keep believing that eventually I'll find something that will soothe the pain of my disconnect from the source who is me. There's nothing that soothes that. You just got to stop the wobble. And when you get good at that, in time, there'll be very few wobbles. There'll just be those preliminary wobbles that help you launch more rockets of desire. But you do not have to live without the things that you want. You are creators. You can be or do or have anything. The entire universe backs you up. You just can't contradict your own path and feel good. And you know, everything that every one of you want, or has ever wanted, or ever will want, everything that you want, whether it's a relationship or a pile of money or an enterprise or a material object or a circumstance or an event, everything that you want because you believe you will feel better in the having of it. And what we want to show you is that if you can not wait until you're out there in the weeds, in the wobble zone, trying to deal with conditions that have so much momentum that you just get scrambled, so that there are endless books written on parenting. Yeah, you should do that. No, 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 you should do that. And we say, none of it works if you wait till you get out there, because you're responding to conditions. You're at the bottom of the hill. You're trying to stop the momentum. You're not going to do it. The only thing that works is to get at the beginning of the momentum and to line up with the whole of who you are, and then take the whole of who you are into this conversation, into this situation. So there's lots of ways that we've been saying that to you. Bless your hearts. You've been following us around and listening to all of these rampages for such a long time. We said you create your own reality. Step 1, step 2, step 3, upstream, downstream. You create this vortex, we wrote a whole book about that too, this vortex of creation. There's this vortex of creation, and then we hammered at you, get in the vortex, get in the vortex, get in the vortex, get in the vortex. You said, if only we could get in the vortex. How in the hell do we get in the vortex? Get in the vortex. We said, everything you want is in the vortex, in the vortex, in the vortex. And then you said, I get it, that all my money's in the vortex, but I want to get it out of the vortex and into the bank. How do I get it out of the vortex and into the bank? So then we began talking to you about your grid, about this, where you stand right now, your point of attraction, this atmosphere where you are vibrationally, this atmosphere that you must achieve vibrational alignment with what's in your vortex. And when you do, when there's no resistance, seamlessly what's in your vortex will move into your reality. Jerry called it years ago, turning thoughts to things. Turning those thoughts to things. How do the things that are in the vortex, how do those desires and goals and wishes, how do they become reality? You have to achieve a vibrational frequency that allows you to realize them, you see. That's how thoughts turn to things. And so now, we're giving you the big piece of it. Now you'll get it. Now you'll get it. If you listen back, there isn't anything that we've ever said to you that doesn't fit perfectly with what we're saying to you right here and now. It's just more clarification of the same thing. You are source energy in a physical body, and you have a trajectory. And when you line up with that trajectory, when you dovetail with it, when you add to it, when you are in vibrational sync with it, you feel so wonderful. Sometimes people say, oh, it worries me. Abraham's trying to get me to be really selfish, and everybody else too. And if everybody's selfish, won't they do bad things to each other? And we say, no one ever does anything unkind to another when they are in vibrational sync with who they are. It is not a possible thing. Those people that are acting out and hurting others are hurting themselves in a very big way. You just don't know it. They've got split energy. They're responding to conditions. They feel out of control. They got a big time wobble going. They don't know what else to do. But you do. You do.